that was a phenomenal match, and I loved every minute of it from start to end. And the send off angle with Sami hugging his wife, and then Chad just snatching him up to that German suplex, that was beautiful. That was cinematic quality.
His family, of course, his wife, and wait a minute, Gable from behind!
When he drug him away, hit the German, and then the final shot with it went off the show where he had the ankle lock on the turnbuckle with his leg wrapped through it. I thought that was just brilliant, and you could just, that match, the level of emotional investment, that match felt like it was something that you could have put on one of their big 4, big 5 premium live events, like a WrestleMania card. It wasn't like some of the other matches, like Jimmy versus Jay. I'm gonna keep going back to that match because that's hands down my least favorite match of the year. I can say that much. I'll have to look back at it in retrospect and maybe put it somewhere else. But the point is that did not feel like a WrestleMania match. Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn, that felt like a WrestleMania match. And yeah, I mean, I have nothing bad to say about that match. There were a number of things. They had those German suplexes, man. They look nasty. There was one in particular when they were doing the exchange. You know how they're doing the waist lock reversals. They did the chain of those. And then I think the last one was Sami hitting Chad with one, and he landed right on the back of his head, and he kind of like crumpled a little bit. That made me cringe. I think right after that, Chad hit Sami with one, and he German suplexed him into the turnbuckle. That looked nasty. Everything they did, it just looked so intense. And there's a lot of thoughts, a lot of notes I have about that match, but I want to get your thoughts on this before I just go off the rails.
Right. It was of course it was a really good match. Of course, I liked from the beginning with Sami coming in, him of course being from Montreal, him coming out with the crowd and everything, and him interacting with the crowd. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was really great how they did the camera work too. Of course, I liked the whole Jay going through everything and him meeting him outside. Like first, like with Jay, we going West One. He's like after a while, he's like, okay, he's kind of he's setting up. But I did like it. I liked the whole entrance, and the match was really good. I liked how Chad was trying to prove himself, and then at the end he becomes heel. It's like, nah, forget this. I thought it was a really good build up to that because Chad has been fighting for the Intercontinental Championship. And then of course he trained Sami, and now he won. So he's like, well, I need to get this now. So I think it was a perfect time for Chad to turn heel, especially at that moment in Montreal, right in front of Sami's wife, like you said. And it was just a good match, and I agree. It could have been a main event for any show, pay-per-view wise. Yeah.
Except for I don't think it wasn't a WrestleMania headliner, but it certainly was something that I would put if I was booking that show and I was putting together a match as a producer. I would want that match on my WrestleMania card.
Yeah,
that's how the matches should feel.
I think that it was an even bigger impact too because it was in Montreal. So
absolutely,
that was the really big component because it made Sami to be out, even this big hometown hero type thing, and then Chad turning heel made that even more impactful. So yeah, I think if it was like a backlash or something in Montreal and that match was like, it would have been great. It would
Survivor Series, Royal Rumble.
Yep. So
SummerSlam, yeah. There was a number of other things. So it was pretty evident that Chad was going to turn heel. You saw the singlet, black and purple. I don't think he's ever worn that kind of attire before. It's usually something a little bit brighter, something a little bit less. They have colors. There's like it was Judgment Day purple. Not saying he's joining the Judgment Day, but he looked like a bad guy. And then there was actually a bit in there where I forgot exactly what he said when I was rewatching the match again. He was trash talking Sami. There was a little bit of trash talk, so you could kind of see the complexion of things starting to change. And I'm a real big fan of Chad Gable because a lot of people thought that he could maybe be like an upper mid card type of guy, a utility player, but I really do see him having potential as a main eventer if he continues to pay attention to like the nuance in his matches. And I know the comparisons what people like to make with him and Kurt Angle all the time. I don't want to play into those tropes a little bit too much, but watching that match reminded me a lot of seeing The Undertaker fight Kurt Angle. I forgot, for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't remember what show it was, but hear me out here. The reason I said that was because whatever The Undertaker did, Kurt Angle had an answer for it. He actually beat The Undertaker that night because it was a triangle choke and he flipped through it and actually pinned him. And at the end, The Undertaker said, "I got your number," which was funny as hell, but it was just a funny visual. But the point that I'm making is that everything that The Undertaker did, Kurt had a counter for it. He would counter a choke slam into an ankle lock. He would counter a last ride into an ankle lock. He would counter whatever The Undertaker did. He countered it into the ankle lock, and that's exactly what Chad Gable did. So Chad Gable showed his ability as an in-ring technician to, out of the most unlikely spots, whatever Sami Zayn was trying to do, Chad Gable was going to reverse into an ankle lock, and I did enjoy that. And then I was thinking through, is there anything that Chad Gable could do that Kurt Angle didn't do? Because I don't want them to go into the Kurt Angle 2.0 trope, even though they're really leaning heavily into it, as I've actually heard rumors about a Team Angle type of faction between Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. I don't know if I mean, it makes perfect sense if you look at it on paper. They look like Kurt Angle with Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, and all with the Olympic wrestling background, the singlets, and yeah. But I was thinking, like, what could they do to differentiate them? But Chad Gable, he actually, at this point, his moveset is really solid, but I would like to see more. I think he broke out, it was a front flip wheel kick or something like that. That was really interesting. I just want to see him do things that make him not look like he's doing a Kurt Angle cosplay. Phenomenal talent. Keep doing what he's doing, but add more to his repertoire.
Yeah, I understand that. I think that whole Kurt Angle 2.0 thing works for him, though. I think, like I told you before, I think he should change his name to Kurt Gable. But like I think it works for him. Like he talks like him, he comes out like him. To be honest with you, so I don't mind it. It will be interesting to see how he is as a heel. I think he'll be really good as a heel.
He has to be very intense. He can't. Kurt Angle had a very large span, if we want to use him, because he was somebody of a shorter stature, but he pretty much has the same background as Chad Gable, the technical prowess, and he was able to do both comedic things and then very serious things, like where he was feuding with Shawn Michaels and John Cena, The Undertaker, guys like that. I think that he really could do that. It's just that one thing that they have to continue to do, because the heel turn just happened. It's can't really speak on it too much, but keep that level of intensity. I can't have him being a heel that's getting ran out the ring by people. I need him to consistently be beating guys that are bigger and they think that they're badder. But no, he's just so damn intense. He's like a honey badger. You know about the honey badger, don't you?
Yeah. I hope, when you said the Creed brothers, I agree with that, because it was a promo before the actual match of him training with the Creed brothers before the show actually started. So I was like, okay, I can see them actually getting together, because it makes sense, like you said. They're those type of wrestlers too, and it will be interesting. It will give the Creed brothers some nuance to the actual characters if they do turn heel with them and become like you said, a Team Angle type of faction. So I would like it.
They can learn a lot from him, because he's spanned the entire spectrum of comedic BS character, serious ring technician, and he's done a great job of everything. I think Chad Gable, he's one of the best new talent that is underrated by a lot of folks. I'd be excited to see that happen. I'm a real huge fan of Chad Gable. I can't understate that enough, or overstate that enough.
Do you think he's going to win the title soon, at some point?
The Intercontinental Championship?
Yes.
He has to, and that doesn't mean that he will, but otherwise he turned heel and did all that for what? They did the same thing. They did the same thing with Shinsuke Nakamura a few years ago when he turned on AJ Styles at WrestleMania, because he lost the match. He won the Royal Rumble, lost the match, punched AJ in the nuts. And then the reoccurring thing, I think they fought for 3 more pay-per-views under Vince McMahon's creative, might I add. So very clear difference there. But they had 3 rematches at 3 different pay-per-views, and the reoccurring theme was nut shots. Everybody was getting hit in the nuts. At one point, AJ Styles, he got into it. He said, you know what, you're going to hit me in my nuts? I'm going to hit you in your nuts. And that's what they were doing. But I say that to say, Shinsuke turned, and he got that edge to him but it did nothing. So from a creative standpoint, he has to beat Chad Gable for that belt. That's just my thinking. Side note, WWE wrestlers have some of the worst wives and mothers on the planet.
Oh, you said that.
Because when Sami was getting beaten up, his wife, she didn't look like that was her husband getting beat up. She looked like that was maybe a wrestler that she liked, her favorite wrestler. It wasn't the reaction that you would think that's the father of her son and the person that she's spending the rest of her life with. She just looked mildly upset. I don't know, maybe they need some acting coaches to brief the women in the back before the show. It's like, honey, I need you to have like some onions in your hands to cry or something like that. Cody Rhodes' mom was a really good example, because when The Rock was whooping his ass and all this stuff was happening to him, she was straight faced for a lot of it. Like no, huh?
She wasn't doing anything. Yeah.
No. it's like, Mom, can you at least pretend that you think that I'm in danger?
Yeah. You care about me, please.
It's like, nah, she has a hard nose. You would see The Rock with that weight belt, and she was just. you were lucky if you got that wrinkle in her nose, but yeah, no reaction whatsoever. So I just, it's just something that I've noticed. Do they not like their husbands and their sons?
Like, damn, you think I deserve this, Mom? That's what it is?
She was co-conspiring with him. She's like, damn, he brought home an F. Didn't wash the dishes. Last Mother's Day sucked. But yeah, that's just something that I've noticed, and it's just a mild irritant of mine. I think that if my wife was a wrestler and I saw her getting beat like Sami was getting beat, I think they could at least do something to where the husband or whoever it was tried to get over the barricade and the security would stop. That at least would give the impression that they cared. Just to get that, like, it's the little details that matter, you know? Do you disagree?
I was picturing it would be funny. That's
oh. I mean, would it not make more sense though?
Yeah, like what the fuck you gonna do? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, but
nah, I get what you mean. Yeah, no.
Man, I'm just saying, if I was if my wife didn't try to jump the barricade, she saw me getting beat like that, you know, I might have to consider filing for divorce.